A topic that is relevant today more than ever. It's essential to all of our lives, and that's the relationship between us. Specifically, how do I get into a relationship? We're going to discuss some of the challenges, some of the solutions. What does the wisdom of Kabbalah have to say about all of it? And more importantly, we need your engagement. So if you have questions, if you have comments, if there's a topic, something that touched you that you want to open up, explore, you want answers to, we count on you to share it in the comments below, and when time comes, we'll address it together. We'll touch base on some of your questions, and think of it as a journey of ours together.
Yes, exciting journey. I'm Shelley. Let's talk about that. Let's tell them a little bit about ourselves.
Please.
If you want to know. So I'm Shelley. I'm a mother of 4 children. I'm married not to Alex, to Gershon. He's not here today. And I'm studying Kabbalah from for 20 to 24 years now. And I'm also teaching relationship from the perspective of the wisdom of Kabbalah for 10 years now. And I have to say, this is a very special way to learn about relationships. Maybe some of you might think that Kabbalah has nothing to do with relationships, but actually, the wisdom of Kabbalah is the wisdom of relationship between people. It talks only about good connection between people. If it's romantic relationships, or if it's just relationships with our people in our work, or our neighbors, or our friends. So in my profession, I'm content manager, I'm content creator, and I'm very happy to be here today with Alex. And we hope that you are going to have a lot of fun with us today. Alex, how are you?
I'm excellent. I'm actually very excited. My name is Alex. I've been studying the wisdom of Kabbalah since 2011. Since 2016, I've actually been helping singles get into relationship and discover the wonderful foundation that needs to be built before we enter marriage, which actually I was fortunate enough to witness some successful marriages come out of that. But essentially what the wisdom of Kabbalah does for me, and did for me, is it just organized the entire essence of our life, the purpose that we're here, how things work, specifically in relationship, which is why I've chosen to dedicate my life to speaking more about that, and hopefully help you as well in the process to get what you want out of it.
So we have a little surprise for you for the beginning. Harvard study researched all the relationship stuff, and they found that there are 4 areas of compatibility that if couples have them, so they have probably a good relationships. But we're not going to tell you right now what are those areas of compatibility, but we'll be happy to hear what you think those areas are. So you can write on the chat, and we will talk about it.
Absolutely. The 4 areas, something fascinating that Harvard did a study, essentially with the intention to find out what makes successful couples. What are the common areas that successful couples share? And they've narrowed it down to 4 areas of compatibility. Towards the end of the webinar, we are going to share it with you. So those who stick around will have the opportunity to get to know a little bit more about them. And let's see, Patricia says the 4 languages of love. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. We have a lot of hellos from Finland, Mexico, and so on. But let's continue for now. Feel free to continue to share your comments, but we're going to continue. And of course, towards the end, as promised, we're going to share and reveal what are the 4 areas of compatibility.
So we know that nowadays we meet a lot of singles and people that want to create a good relationships, and they report that it became very challenging to do that. We would like to hear, why do you think this is the case? Why did it become so challenging nowadays to create a long-term relationships? What is missing? What we need to know in order to really success building those relationships. So if you have all kind of challenges that you want to share with us, we'll be happy to hear them. And
essentially, before we reveal to you what the research says, statistically, some of the challenges are today, we do want to hear your experience. We're all here. We understand that we want to discover that special someone for us. We want to have that special connection, but for one reason or another, it hasn't happened yet. But the desire hasn't gone away.
Maybe it happened, but it over, and they're looking for something
Maybe we thought
new.
it happened, but something, caused us to move on. So we do want you to share, what do you think are some of the challenges? When the wife says you're wrong, don't argue. Martin says this is a area of compatibility. Personally, I would have to agree with
your
you.
wife.
Martin, I agree with you completely. You don't argue.
It's easy to say.
So let's move on to what statistics has to tell us. How have things changed?
Yes, so the first change that we see is that really marriage is getting later and later. If 50 years ago people used to get married in their early or in the middle 20s, so today they start thinking about getting married, if they even think about it, in the beginning of the 30s, even 40s. So people are not rushing to get married. We want to hear if you want to get married, or you're just looking for a good relationship with someone. Second thing.
The second study actually found that out of those in a relationship, 46 of adults feel a loneliness. This is pretty shocking, because essentially what it says is people would rather stay in a relationship despite the feeling of disconnection and loneliness, just to be with someone. And that's a staggering 46% of adults. It's almost half of the people in a relationship. Interestingly enough, probably correlates to the 50% divorce rate.
Mm-hmm.
And the third thing we hear from a lot of people that actually join our programs is people don't want to date anymore. They've been through so many dates, relationships, they've been through the ringer, and many people have come to a conclusion that it's almost better not to be in a relationship, not to go on dates, not to go through the levels of disappointment time and time again. They say, listen, I go to work, I have my alone time, I'm actually at peace. My peace is much more precious for me. It doesn't mean that the desire to be with someone, to be in a relationship, has gone away. It's still there. But the willingness to go out and to fight for something that experience showed didn't work, and they don't have a solution for it, many people just choose to let go of dating altogether.
I think it's also connected to the fact that there are many applications today, Tinder and I don't know what else, that people prefer to sit at home and just move their finger right or left. And if they find someone nice, so maybe they will meet her, maybe not. But really what Alex says, we see it in our courses. Many times we start a course, physical course, people are sitting around us, and we ask them in the beginning, when was the last time that you went on a date? And for me it was very surprising. In the beginning, many of them say, I was dating maybe 3 years ago or 1 year ago.
Wow.
But from the other hand, they want to find someone. So how do we expect to find someone if we don't go on a dating? So
They say, if it happens, it happens. I'm
if
open
fortune
to
will
it.
give it, will give it to me, so it
Exactly.
will happen.
Exactly. And yet, another study finds that despite all the challenges, despite all the difficulties, 60% of U.S. adult singles and 70% of European singles want love. People still want love.
I think it's 100% of the people want love. But as you said before, some of them are just got tired.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, I don't want to get hurt, I don't know how to do it, maybe I don't have luck, maybe something is wrong with me and I just can't find love. But we believe that everyone can find love, and we believe that it's not because something is wrong with us we don't find it. And there are many other reasons that make it difficult or challenging for us. But we're going to understand them more deeply, and we're going to talk about the solution for these challenges. And maybe let's check how it all began. Let's talk about the evolution of love. How did it start? What's happening? How did we become so challenged by finding love today? So, Alex, it's all started on the ancient times.
Essentially, it all started with ancient times, but the interesting part of going through the prism of history is to get a taste of why it seemed relationship worked differently then and now, so that we can learn a little bit about ourselves and what role relationship played in our life.
Yes, because something has changed. You know, people many times say, my grandfather and grandmother didn't have this kind of problem, and my grandmother, they also didn't have this kind of problem. So something has changed with human nature, or with the people of.
We're about to discover what it is.
Modern people have some kind of new challenge that we don't understand. Where did it start?
So let's take a look at early societies, right? Small tribes, maybe 10, 20, 30 people, 40 people. It's a big tribe. People were close to nature. They had clearly defined roles. Hunters, gatherers, taking care of the children, the elders of the village, of the tribe. And marriage wasn't anything special. It was almost like a natural consequence of life. It was a natural part of the existence, of the need of the tribe to continue to exist, to provide for itself. Everything was communal, the taking care of the children, the hunting, the gathering, the male, the female society, the children. It was so much like we see almost with animals, right? It was very natural. People were close to nature. Let's do next slide. As we developed, as we evolved, we see that we started developing into villages, we started developing into kingdoms, we started developing into masses of different hierarchies, right? You had the royalty, you had the noblemen and noblewomen, you had the villagers, you had the farmers, the knights, all the different factions and classes of society began to appear. And the role of marriage almost took on a different role. It continued to serve a role of survival for the common folks. those who had to survive from the land, those who had to survive from farming and growing their own food and providing for themselves, family was something that was absolutely necessary for that.
You couldn't survive without it.
You couldn't survive without
You
it.
needed children that will help you work in the field. You needed a woman that will take care of you when you get old, and she needed you to take care of her. So people couldn't imagine their life without family, because it was
Absolutely.
like committing suicide if you didn't have some kind of small community that will take care of you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We see that as we venture upwards in the hierarchy of the society, it became a status symbol, right? So noblemen had to get married with their level. Kings had to marry queens, prince with princesses, and so on and so forth. There was a clear distinction of hierarchy that needed to be kept. And of course, people, because of the nature of the evolution and connection that we had, people relied on those that were in their immediate proximity, their neighbors, their country folk. Seldomly you had someone who dared venture into a neighboring village or into a different kingdom altogether, but for the most part, people stayed local.
And they were not worried about finding love. They just needed to find someone to live with. In Hollywood movies, they always show us the princess that doesn't love the man that she's going
romance.
to marry, and she needed someone to save her. But actually, life were much more simple in some kind of way, because people didn't have to think so much about the relationship. They just needed to think about how to survive, how to continue the life that their father showed them the right way to live, and they just try to move on and continue this. And then we're getting to the Industrial Revolution, and here we see quite change happening. Alex, you want to talk about it, or you want me to talk about it? People are moving to the big cities. Women and men are starting to work in all kind of
Factories, jobs, production.
Exactly. And they move to the big cities, and there the atmosphere is very different from what they used to had in the village. Everything is bigger. They live far from each other. They live alone, and also the dating world is starting to be part of
Completely.
their life.
Completely.
And this occasion is actually, from one hand, it gave them more opportunities. I don't have to get married with the daughter of the neighbor, and I don't have to get married with the person that my parents think that I should. I can choose anyone. I can even marry someone that is not in my class, maybe from higher class, maybe from lower class. But the dating world also started some kind of trauma. The research show us that women that were going on dates, they had some kind of expectation that if it was nice and they got maybe to some kind of intimate situation, it will continue. And suddenly, it wasn't always that way. And the research shows us that women, especially in this specific period of time, they felt they're going on some kind of trauma. They didn't know how to deal with it. And from the other hand, life goes on, and they started dating another one and another one, and in some kind of point, the dating world became essential part of our life. We can't find someone if we don't go on a date.
Now, in our modern era, what we see is virtual existence of openness, abundance, overabundance. We now can be in touch with any person around the world. We can chat, we can have online relationships. The applications that are available to meet individuals within 10, 50, 100 miles from me, where before I never had access to so many people. Today, the overabundance and the accessibility to the individuals has completely, on one hand, opened up the infinite possibilities. On the other hand, when I have too much to choose from, how do I choose? On the third hand, what society has done with us. I remember when my parents back in the USSR got married. My mom was 19, my dad was 23. And it was absolutely normal. You finish school, college maybe, you get married. There was no ifs and buts around it. It was a social norm for young people to get married. Today we see the complete opposite. Today people look at you and they tell you, listen, you are young, you have to travel, you have your whole life around you, you got to explore yourself, go to work, all of these things. And naturally we want to do that, right? And it's fine to do that. But what a lot of people end up finding themselves is in their late 20s, early 30s, late 30s, with so much experience, but not knowing how to actually build a relationship that will get them to the marriage, the love, the connection that they truly desire.
And this is very surprising. How come that when everything is open to us and we can meet anyone that we want and we have so many possibilities, it became much more challenging? What is missing? What is the glue that will make us stick together? And the wisdom of Kabbalah talks exactly about this. What happened to the will of people, to the desire of people? Because through history, we were not only going through changes in the city or in the world or in the technology changes. We are changing from the inside. And what we're talking about is actually the ego. The human ego is getting bigger, is getting, even we can say, crueler, and he wants to get much more than he got before from life. We are not satisfied from anything. And there is a reason. There is a reason that is very, very, how can we say it? כאילו, מוכתבת מבפנים.
Imprinted inside?
Yes. It's happening inside of us. And let's talk about it. Let's talk about what is changing inside of the human nature that is making the finding of relationships so challenging.
Well, do we talk about the will to receive now?
Yes? No?
Essentially what the wisdom of Kabbalah is teaching us is that we were embedded, all of nature is embedded with a will to receive. It's a desire that has a very simple mechanism. It wants to get the most amount of pleasure for the least amount of effort.
Maximum pleasure, minimum effort. Remember this.
And in the process, it discovers essentially its own nature. Can we draw here? Let's see what we can do here. Okay. This is a cup. A cup that wants food, love, things it wants. Now this is a very crucial part, because essentially we want to pay attention to this, and I do want you to ask questions. This is the core of who we are as human beings, who we are as people, our nature, our psychology. Everything we are is this cup. This cup has a want, hunger for food, anything. This cup receives, okay, it receives light, it receives fulfillment, it receives something goes in. As the levels of pleasure fill up, for example, if I eat, I reach a level of satiation that once the cup is full, the desire is canceled. In the example, I am super hungry and I fantasize about the steak that I've been wanting to have for the past month and I never had the opportunity, and today is the day. Today I'm going to have the steak. I go to the restaurant, I order the steak. As the chef prepares it exactly as I want it, I feel my mouth watering from the excitement and the expectation of the steak. The steak arrives, I have my favorite glass of wine, I begin to cut it, I dig in. The pleasure of the steak is phenomenal. It's so juicy, it's so tender, it's everything that I ever wanted. I have another piece and another piece. And you know what? My desire begins to fill up. I have what I've dreamed for months, and it's okay. Like, it's good, it's delicious, but I don't have that yearning for it anymore. And there comes a point in my eating of this beautiful, wonderful, delicious steak that the steak hasn't changed. My desire for it has, because now I'm full. And if I eat enough, I come to a point where I can't even look at the steak anymore. Something that I wanted, I craved so deeply, I can't even look at it anymore. And our desire works like that with everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we want something, we dream about it. And I must say, when we talk about relationships and love, we have all the commercial word that drives us mad and make us think that we want only someone that looks like this and have muscles and have some kind of hair and some kind of eyes, exactly like in the poster, but it's not necessarily what I really need. It's probably not what I need, but I don't even know how to recognize what I need, what is suitable for me, what is the right person for me, and there is no one around me to help me understand what I really need. So I keep chasing my fantasy, and sometimes I even find someone that looks like that, or talks like that, or behave like the man from the movie that I was thinking that is so impressive, and we even go out together, and I'm so excited. And you know, they say that in the beginning of relationship, if it's a good relationships, our body creates oxytocin. It's some kind of hormone, the love hormone, that makes me so excited and so happy. And the oxytocin stays between 2 hours to 2 years, but it doesn't last more. And when I have this hormone inside me, so I'm really happy and I'm willing to do anything for the other person. But then, after a while, the levels of oxytocin go down, and actually in the picture that Alex just drew, I'm starting to get full and fuller. My will is getting full and full. And suddenly I look at this person that was so amazing, and I say, well, he's annoying, he's making me angry, he doesn't understand me. What he does for me, I do so much for him. And what's so special about him? What am I doing with him? Why am I not looking for someone else? And I see that my friend has just started dating someone amazing, and I'm still with him. And actually,
he's not serious. He doesn't want to commit. I'm with him for 2 years,
and he never listens to me.
He plays his PlayStation all day long. I can't take it. What are we doing in this relationship? Where are we heading? Where are we? Where are we going? Where are we advancing?
And actually, what's happening is that my will is not empty anymore. It's full, and it started to disappear. I don't want him anymore in some kind of way. And this is the same thing that happened with the steak. It's the same thing that happened to us in our relationships. And when we think about it, it looks like a big problem. What are we going to do with it if this is the mechanism? So what can I do about it, Alex? And now we're waiting to hear your questions about this, about this situation. Alex, and in the meantime, if you can tell me, what do you think we can do about it?
What can we do about it? What we can do about it is...
Can we do something about it?
We can certainly do something. We can do a lot about it. Just like with anything in life, there is a clear path that we can take in understanding the road that I need to take as a single man, as a single woman, that I need to take in order to reach the destination. The destination in our case is a loving marriage that are connected, committed, regardless of all the turmoil. I want to find the roadmap that's going to lead me to my right partner. I don't want to have confusion. I don't want to have second doubts. I want to have clarity and certainty that I know exactly what steps to take, how to identify that the person is right for me, how to identify that the person is wrong for me, how to identify how a relationship is built, what a man wants, what a woman wants, how a man falls in love, what a woman falls in love. How does the art of courtship, how do we need to date to begin with? There are certain natural laws that operate both on a man and a woman where develop the emotional response for both of us. And these are natural laws that we can't go against, just like I can't expect to jump off a 20-story high building and expect to survive. Sure, there might be miracles, but I'm not going to be as healthy as I did before I jumped. So these laws operate on absolutely every aspect of our life, including relationship. So the more we learn about it, the more we study, we go through a process, we learn how to develop strong relationship, what is true love, how it's developed, how a man and a woman need to do it together. And then everything becomes clear. I'll give you an example of a friend of mine who took our program. Wonderfully successful guy. Corporeally, financially, wonderful guy. Great personality. You can't but fall in love with him. But at 46 years old, he never found the need to actually be in a relationship. Just gave up. After going through the program, something woke up inside of him. He suddenly understood how to know how to pick the right woman for him, how to nurture a relationship, what his role is in the courting process. Once that clicked for him, within months, he met someone, I think almost a year now, they're together, they're engaged to be married, and he couldn't be happier. And the only difference before and after is that something clicked inside, is something made sense, something just, a path opened up, and he knew exactly what needs to happen in order for him to achieve what he truly wanted.
Yes, and I know many stories like Alex just told us, because I think the special thing that is happening in this course for any of you that will want to participate is that we're getting some kind of inner clarity. It's like people today are very confused. We are influenced by many things and we want many things and we're not sure what is the right thing. And from the other hand, we don't want to waste our time with somebody that is not right for us. But if we stop searching, so we're getting stuck in the same place. And if we search too much, we're getting sometimes desperate, or we say, okay, it's not going to work. So we try to protect ourselves. And the wisdom of Kabbalah is talking about the nature of the human nature, the nature of men, the nature of women, and they are very different. And we need to learn in what way they are different, in what way they are similar, and how to create some common area between men and women, and how to nurturize this area, how to feed it, how can we make it grow, how can we keep the love after the oxytocin is going down. And there is a way to do all of that, but we need to learn the nature of the man and woman. We need to learn how to listen and how to talk, how to solve conflicts, and how to go in the right mode to first date. And what is love? What is love actually? Because we think that we know what is love, and we think that when we feel butterflies in our hearts, so this is love. Or if the other person is very attractive or very impressive, or if we feel that we want to be with him, this is love. But this is only the beginning of love. This is only the seeds of love. And we don't know, many times we just don't know how to make these seeds grow and give us fruits, sweet fruits. So the wisdom of Kabbalah is giving you all the tools to understand and to get rid from many things that disturb you, to see yourself and to see the other person clearly. So I think if someone really wants to find the right person for him, he can. Everyone can. Everyone have the right person, and maybe is even closer than what we think. Sometimes it's just in our areas. A lot of time, long time, he's around us, and we just can't see him because there is something that is blocked inside of our heart. And in this course, you see that you just get rid from all these blocks. I think now we would like, I tell you the truth, I never did webinar without seeing the faces of the people that I'm talking with, so it's very difficult, it's new for me. So we really want to hear you, to feel you, to know what you think, what your challenges, what you think about what you heard, what kind of question it brought out. So Alex, I see there are a lot of things that people wrote to us. You want to read something?
We have a question from Shadrach. Is the idea of a soulmate a reality? And if not, essentially, if it is, how do we find that person? The ideal of a soulmate is, as we were explained by story tales, right? There is this magical person that is right for us, and he's my soulmate. The truth is that you attract a person with the qualities that are compatible to you. And if you, inside of you, have certain lacks, certain fears, certain challenges, certain things that you need to overcome, you will attract a person with exactly the opposite qualities. Why? Because it's written that a husband and wife are one flesh, meaning you are attracted to someone who completes you and who you complete. What that means is the more you work on yourself, the more you actually invest in clarifying certain blocked areas within you to understand your own nature and how you operate, you will attract a different quality person to you. And together, from that level of greater awareness, you'll be able to develop a much deeper relationship.
Let's hear another question.
Let's see. Scratch the icing on the cake.
Well, I have to say another thing about soulmate. I believe that you build the relationship with someone else in a way that he becomes your soulmate, because nobody comes ready to be your soulmate. You need to get to know each other. You need to understand him, and he needs to understand you. You need to find what you both love, and to find a way to give up for him, and he needs to give up for you. I mean, this is a very complex system between men and women, and we need to come with a lot of ambition and a lot of belief, and really to give ourselves to this. And if we know how to do it, and how to do it in the right measure, and how to give the other side the ambition to be with us, so he can become your soulmate. But if we sit at home and we say, okay, if there is a soulmate, so he will just come, he will just appear, it will just happen. So it's not going to happen, probably. So we need to be very rational in the way we look for relationship. We need to be very active in this path.
Absolutely. So we're not just having this meeting to talk about relationship. There is an actual program that, for those of you who are serious and are committed and are at least open to find out about how this process works. I heard this thing once. If you know it all, then that's all you know. You have all the answers, you're good to go, you can follow your own beliefs, your own system, and I wish you all the best of luck. But if you're actually watching us, and you have questions, and you believe that within the wisdom of Kabbalah, within the wisdom of connection, within the essence of what we're showing and presenting to you here, there is a trace of truth that can help you discover, like you did others, and actually help you align towards the relationship that you want. You will see a link in the chat that will take you to a registration for a waiting list. And from there, you will be contacted once the page is full, I believe, by us, and we'll take it from there. Specifically, I also want to address a question that's been jumping out here about love and how we need to love others, and this idea of loving others. And I can tell you that I've worked with a lot of women over the years who've loved and have given. One of my ladies who've gone through the program, she was in a terrible relationship, emotionally dead relationship for 7 years. 7 years, and she didn't know why he's not proposing, why he doesn't connect with her, why he doesn't invest, she's giving her all to him, and he sits back and takes and receives, and she's loving and he's not reciprocating. So when I hear comments like, you need to love, and we need love, and God is love, we see that in reality it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Because our idea of love is completely misunderstood. The whole concept of what love is completely misunderstood. If I love my child by giving him absolutely everything he wants, I make a spoiled brat out of him, and I lower him below the degree of a human because he doesn't know how to behave, how to control himself, how to actually grow up and have control over his desires and emotions. If I show him the example of giving in to all of his wants and desires, he doesn't build an ability to function as an adult in this reality. The opposite. If we know how to love and what love is, and from what we know, love is something that exists within a framework of a bond, a union. Love doesn't happen on the street. You can be nice to people, you can help people, you can be generous and kind, but love as it is, open, infinite, endless, abundance, where you give and you receive, and you and your partner together create this field of love, it can only happen once you're married. if you invest that level of energy into a relationship before you have a commitment, you don't have a commitment. There is no relationship to invest. In fact, I'll tell you more, as someone who studied psychologies. Women have a tendency to buy love through investing. They think that by me investing myself into a partner, he will love me. A guy with a big ego, he feels that everything that he receives that is not earned, he deserved it. So our entire concept of how to reach love is actually how to filter, how to grow internally, and how to become the person that is ready to be in the marriage that we want, in the relationship that we want. Because then we'll actually attract the partner that deserves our love and can love us back.
And another subject that we're going to talk about in the course is courtship. Now when Alex mentioned women that gives everything and doesn't understand why it's not becoming true love, so we know that if we talk about the history of love, so men used to courtship.
To court.
To court.
Mm-hmm.
But today we see that it's going and fading away, all this story of courtship. But it's very essential for relationships, and we need to learn what it means to court today, and who needs to court, the woman or the man, and what is courtship, how we do it. How long should we do it? Should we stop after we achieved what we wanted, or should we continue with this all our common life? So we have a special class that talks only about courtship, and we see that we can't really build love without it. Today we think that, okay, I called her, I told her to come, she came, we went somewhere, it's okay, we have a good vibes, it's enough. But it's not enough. Women need to know how to play in this game, and men need to know how to play this game, because it's really a game of both sides. And without courtship, love becomes very flat and very boring and not satisfying. So there are many components that we need to know, and we need to know how to use and how to play with, and how to bring back to life even, because in our modern life many things become very superficial, and we think that this is the only way, this is how everyone's doing this, and this is how I should do it also. But it's not like this, because we don't know how people really achieve their love, and we want to do it right. We want to build the right structure. We want to have the right roots to grow from. So we really hope to see you in the course and develop this subject.
There is a question from Chris. Chris is asking, is love something that you find or something that you build? It's a very good question, and love is something that you build, but it's something that you build with the right person. If you want to build the tallest building in the world, right, which essentially is the love that we want to experience, we want it as deep, as intimate, as connected as possible, that has all the godly attributes for us to feel divinity between us. Don't you want that type of love? Of course. If we want to build that type of building, what is the first thing we need to do? You're about to build a building. You have the blueprints, you have everything. What is the first thing you need to do?
Dig the ground.
You need to dig the ground. You need to build the foundation. The foundation holds the relationship. You can't love anyone before you actually build a foundation. And a foundation is built specifically through the courtship process. A man falls in love when he invests. A man invests, he feels the value of something rise up. He makes the decision, is it someone that I want to actually be with? A woman feels her value in the eyes of this man. She feels, does he court me? Does he do it well? How do I feel with him? You know, all of us make these different assessments essentially about one another and the relationship between us in this courtship process. We're not expressing love. We're getting to know each other. We're essentially step by step, we're building this foundation, piece by piece, ground by ground. We're taking it out, we're building it as we go. And in that process, when we're ready to enter the holy union, which is called a marriage, we enter with a solid foundation, ready for us to build our love building on top of it. If we just love one another without understanding how to build the foundation, how tall will we be able to build? And how strong will this building be?
Any more questions?
Let's see, any more questions? We have a lot of hearts. Patricia says she wishes she heard this 60 years ago.
It's never too late.
Absolutely.
Patricia, you are here because you need to be here today, and believe that this is exactly the right time for you to hear this lesson, this webinar, and start changing something inside of you and start changing your life, actually. Don't worry, you probably were not supposed to hear it 6 years ago.
Guys, more questions. We have about 4 minutes,
Don't
4.5
be shy.
minutes.
Tell us about your challenges.
We want to, don't want challenges, we want you to help us dig deeper. We really want to get to the bottom of how this relationship works. The course itself, of course, is going to be much more in depth. We're going to get to the bottom of all the steps that we need. We're going to help align. One of the things that is important about a course, and to begin with, why I tell people that a group program is important above everything else. If we look at ourselves as human, we see that we're shaped by the experiences that we have, by the interaction that we have with our society, our environment. First, it's our parents, siblings, friends, everything that we're exposed through in movies, and everything around us shapes who we are, what we believe, what we feel, our decision makings, what makes us feel loved, etc., etc., etc. It shapes us. What happens when we enter a group environment, especially one that shares the right values, that aligns us in very subtle ways through the environment, we begin to see how effortlessly and naturally things begin to change within us. We begin to think different, we begin to feel differently, we begin to approach relationships differently, and things just begin to flow. And this is the experience. This is why I can be really proud of this program, is because the experience of so many of our participants in the past has been effortless. Things just happen as we go through discussions and seminars and workshops and homework and assignments. Things begin to align us internally, specifically in the direction that we want.
Yes, I want to add that the course is going to be on the Zoom, not on YouTube. And we actually, just like Alex just said, we are going to build a group. And if you ask yourself, but I went to psychologists and I went to coacher and I went to so many people, but I couldn't change myself. There is a good reason for that, because it's very difficult for a person to change himself alone, even if there is another person that tell him how he should behave or what he should think. And the uniqueness of the wisdom of Kabbalah, that it always talks about groups. The change is happening inside of a group. And when we build a group, we build not only not only the people, it's the atmosphere that becomes a part of the group. It's the goal that the group have. And if all the people in this group, they don't have to start to go dating with each other, but they all want to achieve love. They all want to get good relationship in their life. So this become the goal of the group, and we see that in the groups that we had before, even 10 years ago, they are still together on WhatsApp. I remember the first group. They still have a WhatsApp group until today. I just saw pictures from there. And
Really?
yes, they were all 30 plus in the group, and most of them, just like I said, they didn't even go on dating, and they were some kind of, okay, let's try it. They all, except I think 2 men out of 20, they all got married.
Wow.
They all have children. They send the pictures of their families in the group. They invite each other to birthday, weddings.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. One of them is still a good friend of mine, so we just talked about it, and she showed me the group. I didn't believe they are still together. So what is happening in this course is that the group become power. They go together to achieve something. They support each other. They give motivation, and they change even the way that we think. If I'm a part of group and I learn something and we talk about it, and I see the will, the will that is inside the group, everybody wants it. So it's always keeping me alive, and we just change our destiny together. And alone, it's very difficult to do it. So when you think about change, I know most of people don't like when you tell them you need to change something from the inside, you need to think different, you need to understand something. But in the group, it goes inside of you. You don't need to work too hard.
It happens naturally.
It happened naturally. And this is the magic of the wisdom of Kabbalah. Really, I'm here, just like I said, for 24 years, because the minute I touch this wisdom, I just understand there is nothing bigger, smarter, stronger, and even sweeter than the wisdom of Kabbalah.
Absolutely.
Right?
Okay, friends, our time is well over, but before we go, there are a few things. One, you've been shared a link for all of those interested for you to join the waiting list. The waiting list is going to give you more information about the program. You're going to be able to leave your information so that we can reach out, get in touch, and let you know that we are going live on such and such date. So stay in the loop, sign up to the waiting list. Second, although this live is about to be over, there is going to be, and our friends are going to share the link with you, we're going to take Q&As, questions and answers. We're going to have a full hour together to explore this topic and more. Anything you want to know about the wisdom of Kabbalah, relationship, love, anything you want to know, join the Zoom. It's going to be live essentially, but not broadcasted. So you are going to have an opportunity to continue the fun, to continue in the connection. We do hope to see you there. And I really, from the bottom of my heart, I want to appreciate all of you who came, all of you who shared, who participated, who asked questions, who shared your impressions from the heart. I hope that even if a little bit we were able to move something, to impress you with something about how important and wonderful this science is, this wisdom that we all share, and how impactful it can be in our lives. Thank you all for being here with us, and those of you who decide to continue on to our Zoom in Kabu, I'll see you there. We'll see you there.
Thank you very much, and we hope to meet you face to face.